I'm ready to work on another simple memory keeping process. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com. Today I am working in my Elizabeth Crafts memory journal, and today I have a couple of new pictures of kiddos in their sports and the resulting injuries from sports. And today I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm actually going to use a different set, but also Vicki Boutin because I love her. We're going to use the Print Shop set to create pages, and I'm going to try working in some of the pocket pages. I've been going back and forth on different types of pages in this journal. I do very much like the ones that are not in the pockets, but I have a lot of the pockets. So let's give a couple of pocket pages a try. As always, I will link the things that I use down in the description box below. Otherwise, I'm going to put you all on fast forward. Let's go. In my Elizabeth Craft Design journal, I'm calling it a memory journal. I am loving the simplicity of this. This is like dipping my toe back into full-time memory keeping. This is not 12 by 12 scrapbooking, which I think is beautiful and amazing, but tends to overwhelm me. This is not memory planning where I fill in each and every week. These are just little sweet pages that come together quickly that allow me to document stories for my family, but not be overwhelmed with the process. So I'm not putting any pressure to do a page a week or even to document all the pictures. It's just coming in and taking little snapshots, if you will, of what's going on in life. And it has been so enjoyable to work in this process that I'm very much looking forward to continuing this through the next year. For a while, I was exclusively working with the Flower Emporium kit from 49 and Market. It was a collaboration between Vicki Boutin and 49 and Market, and I love that kit. It is one of my faves of all time, and I thought this journal would be beautiful if it just had all of one kit, and it certainly would, but I was starting to get a little bit bored of just using one kit, and I think that happens to creatives, probably a lot of the time. The reason we have lots of different kits is because we like lots of different things. So this is in the same vein. The Print Shop collection from Vicki Boutin. Any Vicki Boutin collection is going to have a mixed media component to it. It's kind of the, I don't know, it's a huge part of her style, and I love that about her style. It lets me play with mixed media elements without getting messy, without having to pull out all of my mixed media supplies, which I love to do. Don't get me wrong. I love a good mixed media spread, but sometimes you just want to put paper on paper, and that's what this collection allows me to do, and pretty much any of the Vicki Boutin collections. Working with double-sided paper has been pretty key in this whole project just because it gives me a jumping off point for the back. And in this case, I didn't really like the back of the two cards that I cut. I didn't love that the circle didn't match up. It just wasn't my fave. So I am doing my best to use some of the scraps from the 12 by 12 that I cut apart to bring this card back into something that I'm a little bit more interested in. I have some different journaling elements that came as part of one of the ephemera kits in this collection. So I'm going to add a few journaling moments here on this card. What I've been doing in this particular journal is doing photos on the front and then giving myself an opportunity to add journaling on the back. And I like that because I can go back while I'm sitting watching TV or a movie or just chilling with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and add in the journaling later. I don't have to incorporate it on the photo page, which I kind of dig because sometimes I'm all about the writing and then sometimes I am not in the mood or I don't want to write in that moment. So I like that I can come back afterwards and just easily add the journaling onto these pages. I was also really digging the fact that I could use so many of the scraps from the original piece of paper to bring this one together. I like that the front and back are going to coordinate and that I can flip the paper back and forth and use the different sides on the different sides on the opposite of what the base is. So for instance, when I had the geometric pattern of the honeycomb on one side, I was able to use that in a different way on the other side. So it just comes together in a kind of a cool way. I also really dig that I used a different size photo. I printed this photo, I think it's like, I don't know, maybe 5.5 inches tall and a couple inches wide, just in odd shape, just because I really wanted to zoom in on my son in his first baseball game of the season. And I think that that's another fun way to document. Generally, I'm like a 3x4 kind of girl. I print things in a more standard size, but I've been using an app called Print to Size, which allows me to import a photo and then basically resize it, crop it however I want. And I like this. I like this element, and it might be something I play with in the future. Let me know what you think. Do you print in the standard sizes? I think it makes sense to. I think scrapbooking kits are often geared towards 4x6, 3.5x5, 2x3, that type of thing, 3x4. But it's nice to kind of jump out of the box. Or like, I think a lot of people, I have a printer at home. I have a photo printer at home that I'm using, Epson PictureMate 400. I've had it for years. I love it. And I love the freedom of being able to print photos on demand. But I know a lot of people order photos online or, have them developed at Walmart or Walgreens or wherever the case may be. Do you always print your photos in the same sizes, and do you keep them in those sizes, or do you trim them down? I'm always interested to see how people use the photos and how they size them and feature them on their page without it being the only thing on the page. To add a little bit more interest, I'm grabbing some Tim Holtz stickers, some phrase stickers. This was actually a tough game. It might be a tough season for my little guy and his baseball team. They are they're struggling. They're struggling a little bit, but that's okay. So I picked some quotes that were like, hey, the best is yet to come and things will get better. So it was just a hard, when you lose by double digits multiple games in a row, it's just a hard start to the season, but lots of life lessons being learned. That's for darn sure. The next photos I want to document would be of my daughter sitting at urgent care working on her homework because her arm has been hurting. Well, it turns out she has what basically boils down to a stress fracture in her arm and probably has had it for a while from color guards. So, ouch, she is a tough girl and has been pushing through. We went to urgent care finally just because normally she doesn't complain about pain very often. And so, since it wasn't going away, took her in, have the x-ray, have the stress fracture, and now it's time to rest and recover for sure. But I just wanted a chance to document what a tough girl she is. I'm just amazed that she has had basically a fracture in her arm for a few weeks now and just been pushing through. So what a tough cookie. So I'm going to document that on the front, and then on the back do a little bit of journaling. I don't really love the florals on the back, like that reddish coral color, not my fave. So I will attempt to tone it down a little bit. I'm loving using the scraps on the back. Like you can bring the feel of the front to the back, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna change things up. I wanted to bring in this kind of green color because she's actually wearing a Wicked shirt that has green. So we're going to emphasize that. Here's her little x-ray moment, and then her working diligently on her homework right here. It's fun to bring in those colors. I don't always like to match the background colors to what's happening in the photo. In fact, I rarely do it, but because I kind of thought I could bring in the green, not like overdone, but just bring in a little pop of it. I think it turns out really nicely. Elizabeth Craft Designs has a ton of different metal dies that you can use with her journals. I love the metal dies. I've been using them and playing with them, but I think sometimes it can feel, I don't know, I have to pull them all out. I have to pull out the die cut machine. Today, I just wanted to play with paper. I was really happy that I had all this ephemera sorted over in my ephemera station to the left of my desk. And I just wanted to put paper on the page. So I'm just playing with different ephemera pieces. I'm not really worried about how the theming goes. I'm really thinking more about colors and what I wanted to bring into the page. So I love bringing phrases this day. I like how this day could be, you know, positive or negative. It doesn't necessarily go either way. I wanted to bring in a few florals just because this was my daughter's spread and I thought it was more fitting. It was just fun to layer and practice with the ephemera, making some clusters. It does cover up a ton of the background. Not really worried about that. I like the weight of the paper when you have all these layers on it. I think it looks really nice. I think it feels really nice as you're flipping through the album. So I'm going to continue playing with the layers, and we'll put even some more on the back. These are going in those page protectors, but especially the pages for this album that are outside of the page protectors. I really, really enjoy the weight because I feel like those pages are going to hold up better overall. I had a lot of ephemera pulled for this page. Not all of it ends up making it onto the front. I think I'll save that ampersand and add that to the back. I'm also going to grab some Tim Holtz stickers for the front. I love those phrase stickers. They're some of my favorites. If you have any other recommendations for little phrase stickers like the Tim Holtz ones, let me know because I would love to play with them a little bit more. I'd love to have some more phrase stickers. I'd love to use them in a lot of different projects. So let me know if you have any recommendations besides the black and white Tim Holtz ones, how you use them, or any other companies that maybe have them in different colors. That would be super fun to have all the phrase stickers and all the different colors. I would use the heck out of those. That's for darn sure. All right, I feel good about the front. Let's add just a journaling spot on the back, not too hard. I'm going to pull a journaling card from the cut apart sheet. I think that the Happening Today one has this like deep purple color that is actually on one of the florals on the front of the card. So that will go very nicely and kind of tie the two together. I want to layer over top of that coral red color because I don't love it. So we'll just cover it up in different ways and just add a little bit, I don't know, a little bit of contrast. I like it more once I add that other floral in. It just, I don't know. It's not my favorite color. I don't normally gravitate towards red. I really only ever use it in Christmas time or at in February around Valentine's Day, but red's not my favorite, so I tend to try to avoid it even if it's like a different shade of red. The last thing I'm going to do once I get these larger ephemera pieces in place is kind of dig through, find something else that just needed a little bit more detail. I find a few, hard for me to say, little splatters that I'm going to add onto this page. And then that's going to be it for this one. 2 quick, simple memory keeping spreads. You don't have to overthink it. You just have to have fun with your supplies and your photos and your stories. And in the end, you'll end up with something that you love. So I'm going to get these in place and then go ahead and put them back into the album, and I will add journaling later on. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I do want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon members. We have a fabulous time. Patreon is a place where you can support your favorite content creators, but you also receive a lot of extra perks and benefits, exclusive videos, early access to YouTube videos, an amazing community, lots of things going on. If you want to find out more about Patreon, you can head on over to patreon.com/ScrappyWife. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.